This is a rough prototype of a sphere making jig. Knowing that the basic idea works, let's make a better one. First, I cut the pieces for the base on the table saw. I align the jig using my lathe center. And this is how the pieces of the base go together. Here I glue these pieces. The fence of the saw helped me keep them aligned. And that's the pivot point of my jig. Now let's make the sides. That's how it will work, and I need to create a curve like so. I cut one piece on the bandsaw and used it as a template for the other. I reinforced the sides with 3 screws. To make the cutter, I used an old, cheap turning scraper. I roughly shaped it with the grinder. Water keeps it cool so it would not lose its hardness. With my grinder's tool rest at an angle, I sharpened the tool. I made this groove on the table saw so the cutting tool can sit nicely. As you can see, the cutting edge is way below the center of the lathe. So I had to do something to raise it up a little bit. I found a scrap plywood piece that fitted perfectly. And I think that's the perfect height. This piece of steel will keep the cutter in place. and this is how it goes together. I changed the bottom butterfly nuts to regular because they were getting on the way. And this is how the cutter locks into place. This is borax, and I am gonna silver solder a butterfly nut in place to act as a knob, but you can skip this step and buy something ready-made. It is important to heat everything evenly because the flux and the heat will lead the solder into place. And I kind of added much more than needed. So I cleaned it a little bit on the grinder. Silver solder is really tough. Now let's prepare a piece to test the jig. I remove some material so that the jig can reach as far as possible. Here I align the pivot point to the center of my sphere. To make this a little easier, I sharpened the threaded rod to a point. Alright, time to test it. It's better to take careful, shallow passes. And it works. Let's do a larger one, this time using wet olive wood. Here I mark the position of the jig. Now I can remove material so the jig can reach a little bit farther. After I am done with the jig, I can remove the sphere from the lathe and using a classic sphere making technique I can finish my sphere. I won't go further with that because I have done so on another video. You can definitely use this holding technique with the jig as well. There are plenty of sphere making jigs out there. Do your research and decide to make your own if you have the need for one. This is something I wanted to make for quite some time now. I think it works nicely and I hope you'll find this video useful. Now let's see some final shots of the jig. And that was it. See you soon with a new project video.